Have you ever witnessed a trade in the NBA and found yourself questioning the sanity of the GM behind it? Well, get ready for a trip down memory lane as we delve into some of the most questionable and downright dumb trades in NBA history. Starting off with a 2022 trade that many consider the biggest overpay in NBA history. We're talking about the trade involving Rudy Gobert, who was traded to Minnesota for a whopping 5 players. Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Jared Vanderbilt, the 22nd overall pick Walker Kessler, and not one, not two, but 5 first-round picks. Sure, Rudy Gobert is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and his defensive skills are beyond dispute. But when it comes to offense, Gobert is often just a bystander with limited dribbling, passing, and shooting abilities. And to top it off, he's set to earn over $40 million until 2026. To add insult to injury, 2 of the players that Timberwolves traded for Gobert actually played better defense than him in 2023. And if that wasn't bad enough, the Timberwolves had the opportunity to trade for KD that same summer. Without Gobert, the Wolves won 48 games, but with him in 2023, they only managed to win 41. Fast forward to 2024, and the Timberwolves seem to have figured out how to incorporate Gobert into their offense. But with 2 other All-Stars and a strong supporting cast, they should have been winning even without the Gobert trade. But perhaps the most jaw-dropping aspect is the sneaky genius behind this trade. The GM, Danny Ainge, known as Trader Danny, started his executive career in 2003. His ruthless decision-making earned him the nickname, and his genius was on full display in 2007 when he orchestrated the trades for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, leading the Boston Celtics to the 2008 title. Ainge continued to bamboozle other teams, like in 2017 when he tricked the Sixers into an extra first-round pick and fleeced the Cavs for Kyrie Irving. However, his absolute masterpiece was in 2013 when he took advantage of the Brooklyn Nets' desperation. The Nets traded a king's ransom for an aging package from Boston: Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Jason Terry. 5 players and 4 first-round picks later, the Nets paid dearly, and those picks turned into Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So while Rudy Gobert may be paid like his basketball skills cure cancer, the real story here is the cunning and savvy GM Danny Ainge, who made some of the most memorable and in some cases cringeworthy trades in NBA history. After the Nets faced a crushing defeat by LeBron in the 2014 playoffs, legends James, Pierce, and KG departed, leaving Brooklyn with a subpar roster and no first-round picks, casting a dark shadow over the franchise for years. But as catastrophic as the Nets situation was, it pales in comparison to the monumental blunders the Clippers, then known as the Buffalo Braves, made in 1976, a year that stands out as one of the worst in executive decision-making, not just in the NBA, but in the entire realm of sports. The Braves boasted 3 Hall of Fame players in their prime and a Hall of Fame coach, but within the span of just 1 year, they managed to unravel it all. Following their loss in the 1976 Conference Finals, they shockingly fired coach Jack Ramsey, who went on to win the NBA title with Portland the very next season. 2 months later, during the ABA-NBA merger, Buffalo had the fortune to select Moses Malone in the expansion draft. Despite Malone's all-star status in the ABA, the Braves inexplicably kept him on the bench. When Malone protested, they traded him just 2 weeks into the season for 2 first-round picks. Malone went on to win 3 MVP awards, secured 12 more All-Star selections, and rank in the top 5 all-time in rebounds and top 10 in points. But the Braves' missteps continued. In 1972, they drafted Bob McAdoo, a 4-time All-Star, 3-time scoring champion, and league MVP by 1976. However, the Braves traded this top-tier player to the Knicks for John Gianelli, who averaged a mere 8 points per game. Adding to the absurdity, the Braves also had Adrian Dantley, a future 6-time All-Star and 2-time scoring champion. After Dantley's impressive rookie year in 1977, the Braves traded him for Billy Knight. While Knight was an All-Star, the Braves traded him after just 1 season. Had the Braves retained Coach Ramsey and their 3 future Hall of Famers, Malone, McAdoo, and Dantley, they could have dominated the league for the next 15 years. Instead, like a reckless millionaire, they squandered everything for a fraction of its worth. Notably, this era saw many great men traded for virtually nothing. In 1975, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sought a trade, and despite bids from New York and LA, the Bucks could only secure Junior Bridgman, Dave Myers, and Elmore Smith, none of whom averaged more than 13 points per game in their careers. The era of trading Hall of Fame sinners for peanuts was indeed a perplexing chapter in NBA history. A decade before, another franchise found itself in a tight spot, leading to the trade of the best player in the NBA. In 1965, the San Francisco Warriors faced financial troubles, compelling them to trade Wilt Chamberlain. But the return for a player who averaged an astonishing 41 points and 25 rebounds for their franchise was disappointingly meager. They received Connie Deerking, who averaged 8 points per game and was traded away just 1 year later. Paul Newman, who retired after 3 years with a modest 13 points per game, and Lee Schaefer, who retired before even playing a single game for the Warriors. Meanwhile, Wilt would go on to win a title with the Sixers, making the Warriors trade look like a missed opportunity. After just 4 years with the Sixers, Wilt demanded another trade, and similar to the Warriors, the Sixers fumbled the opportunity. They received 2 players averaging less than 10 points per game and an aging all-star past his prime, Archie Clark. The lopsided trades surrounding Wilt Chamberlain's career were dramatic, to say the least. But the craziness doesn't end there. Bill Russell, Wilt's arch-nemesis, had an equally astonishing journey. Before the 1956 NBA draft, Celtics coach and GM Red Auerbach orchestrated a series of trades. He first traded all-star Ed McCulkey and Cliff Hagan to the St. Louis Hawks to move up in the draft and secure the second pick. The Hawks, not wanting to draft Russell due to their owner's racist views, gladly made the deal with the Celtics. However, the Celtics still had to contend with the Rochester Royals, who also wanted Russell and had the first pick. In a bizarre turn of events, Auerbach convinced Rochester to pass on Russell in exchange for several ice-capade performances over the years. Both the Hawks and the Royals accepted these deals, and Russell became a Celtic, winning 11 championships in the next 13 seasons. Auerbach's knack for fooling others to create a dynasty didn't stop there. In 1978, he drafted Larry Bird, and in the 1980 NBA draft pulled off an even bigger miracle. The Celtics traded their first and 13 overall picks to Golden State for Robert Parrish and the 3rd overall pick, which they used on Kevin McHale. This move formed the greatest frontcourt in NBA history in just 2 years, earning the trade the moniker Steal of the Century. However, the Lakers, the Celtics' perennial rival with 17 NBA titles, have also fallen prey to ill-advised trades. After winning the championship in 2020, the Lakers retained much of their team in 2021. Despite having the best defense in the NBA, unfortunate injuries to AD and LeBron led to an early exit from the 2021 playoffs. In a questionable move, the Lakers decided to part ways with the best perimeter defense in the NBA, making it one of the worst deals in Lakers history. They traded away Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, and a first-round pick for the 33-year-old Russell Westbrook and his max contract. This transaction left them unable to retain key defensive assets like Alex Caruso and Dennis Schroeder, resulting in a significant decline in defense and floor spacing. Despite having LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Lakers struggled to play efficient basketball, experiencing a year and a half of subpar performance that they couldn't remedy due to Westbrook's massive contract constraining them from making meaningful additions. Finally, during the 2023 trade deadline, the Lakers parted ways with Westbrook, leading to a notable improvement in their record for the remainder of the season. However, for some franchises, the worst mistakes don't stem from misjudging existing NBA talent, but rather future stars. One of the most egregious draft trades occurred in 1996 when the Hornets drafted Kobe Bryant, but promptly traded him to the Lakers for Vlade Divac, who spent just 2 years in Charlotte, averaging 11 points per game. Another notable blunder took place in the 1998 draft with the Bucks trading Dirk Nowitzki to Dallas for Robert Tractor Traylor, who managed only 4.5 points per game in 2 years in Milwaukee, while Dirk went on to score over 30,000 points for the Mavericks. The 1987 draft also deserves mention, as the Supersonics traded Scottie Pippen to the Bulls for Olden Polonice. Over the past decade, many lopsided trades occurred when disgruntled superstars sought to change teams. In 2012, James Harden desired a max contract from the Thunder, who lowballed him. Feeling disrespected, Harden was swiftly traded to the Rockets, where he averaged almost 30 points per game for the next 9 seasons, marking the beginning of the end for the Thunder's dynasty. Notably, Harden's current dislike for Daryl Morey, who orchestrated the trade, adds another layer to the story. In 1992, Charles Barkley, feeling he was wasting his prime in Philadelphia, was traded to the Suns. Despite being arguably the second best player in the world at the time, the Sixers received only a season and a half of Jeff Hornacek and a couple of bench riders in return. Honorable mentions include Indiana trading Alex English to Denver just before he blossomed into an 8-time All-Star, and the Spurs trading the best rebounder in NBA history to the Bulls for Will Perdue, who averaged 4 points and 4 rebounds per game. If you liked the video, please subscribe, and see you in the next one.